Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea. Apologies for the lateness. Had to move studio, had to run here, and it's just been a mess of a morning, to be honest. But luckily, we're just about managing to get the show done today. And brothers, we're coming off. Do you know what? It's a good thing that we did it today and not yesterday or Friday, because all the news got dropped last night, and I saw everybody was scrambling with their uploads. Literally just news after news, breaking news, things just popping off. Younes, how are you, bro? I'm guessing you're exhausted.
No, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, after the first day,
I'm moving like Conor Gallagher. I've got tons of energy. I'm good. Yeah, it's hectic, isn't it? And the fact that the window is now open means everything has gone tenfold, and it's just bonkers. Every time you want to put a piece of content out, 5 minutes later, something else pops up. So it's just people just got to deal with it. If it's not going to come now, it will come tomorrow. So it is what it is. With probably more news, and the old news will become irrelevant. So it's hectic, it's busy, but no, enjoy it, because this is it's a buzz. It's a buzz. It might not go our way on everything, but it's a buzz.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss that, whether it actually will go our way. But Miz, brother, talk to me. How are you feeling? How are you doing? Busy day yesterday. I passed out yesterday. I was meant to go on Turkish's channel at like 10:30. I ended up passing out. I woke up at 12:30 looking around. Shit, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, what am I doing here? Had to jump straight onto the byline. It's all over the place, bro.
Yeah, man. Look, I've got a nice rhythm going at the moment. So yeah, my time. Yeah, I'm used to this life. I am used to this life, and I don't try and get passed out or anything like that, because I know, I've got my day sorted out. Wake up, do a video, check through all the news, whatever is happening, let it be, work, and then post work, do another live stream, and then if there's anything mind blowing, then we'll come live. But look, I can't come live if I'm sleeping, right? So if it's during my sleep time, you're gonna have to wait till I wake up. But yeah, man, look, I'm calm, man. I'm calm. Windows open. Let's see what we can do.
People are, I guess the first topic is because all of our rivals are literally sniffing around our players, and some people are extremely worried about that. Some people don't mind and just want them sold. We have Gallagher, who is linked with Spurs yesterday. Today, he's been linked with Brighton. Very random, not the kind of player I would have, kind of imagined would have played at Brighton, but they are linked with him. We've got Mason Mount, Man United bid official yesterday as well. Probably a few days it was actually made, but came out yesterday. Kai Havertz with Arsenal as well. Where do we even start with all of this? And that's before we even get into the fact that we're playing against Liverpool on the opening day of the season. I think maybe we start there. Is it?
Do you know what?
Shit!
Yeah, there's so much to talk about. Do you know what, with the fixtures, and I'm keen to hear what you guys have to say. I don't know about you guys. I don't get too hyped up, or I don't get too excited about the fixture. Like, it is what it is. Literally, I just did a live stream about a couple of hours ago, and I only spent about 5 minutes because I saw the live chat. Did not give a 2 cents about what the fixture was. They're like, Miz, talk about Kai Havertz, talk about Amadou Onana, talk about this. I'm like, so you guys don't want to talk about the fixture? Okay, I hear you. But, I mean, it is what it is. We've got Liverpool first up. You best believe, or you best hope, that we have a strong preseason, that we prepare for this. That's all I can say. Yeah, first week Liverpool, next week West Ham. The matches will flow by. It is what it is. Whoop-de-doo, the fixture's out. Like, for me, I'm more concerned about what kind of business we do, how we get ready for the preseason. The new season is still a little while away, so I can't be too bothered about what the fixtures are. Like, who cares?
The only thing I look out for fixtures is how we end the season, because I do believe that is very, very important in terms of the difficulty of the teams in the last 5 games.
Are you looking ahead? Like, are you looking that?
I'm not looking at. I'm not looking at it after I see it for the first time and I talk about it, and then after that I'm like, okay, I don't care anymore. But put it like this: if we had a fixture list of Spurs, Arsenal, City, Newcastle, Man United as like the last 5, I'd be shitting myself right now. I'd be shitting myself, because that tells me that basically we need to be in a very strong position before that. Whereas when I look at it now, the last 7 games, we don't play any of those teams. We play Sheffield United, Everton, Brighton, Villa, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth. The same way Liverpool kind of went on this really good run at the end of the season last year, where they won, 9 games in a row or something like that. It at least allows us to have the possibility of ending the season in a strong way when you don't have loads of tough fixtures at the end. Because let's be honest, I think nobody thinks we're going to blitz Champions League qualification at this current moment with the way the squad's laid out. It's probably going to come down to the last final couple of fixtures, and thankfully it isn't too difficult. But Younes, I don't know what you make of it.
Yeah, no, if that, I agree with Miz. For me, when I look at the fixtures, I only look at one thing, and I don't even look at how we start the season or how we end the season, or I always just look to see if all the big games are evenly spread out or not. Is there any part of the season where we've got a batch of, crap, we've got Arsenal, United, City, Liverpool? Do you know what I mean? Like, does that exist? And we seem to have nothing too bad. I know people are on about November. I get it. But I always think that's bound to happen. You're always going to get one part of the season where you have 2 or 3 games that are big and they're all put together. Yeah. And that's TV. That's sometimes done intentionally. And it's not just us that are like that. Other teams find themselves in the same situation. So overall, I think it's a fairly spread out fixture list. But at the end of the day, like Miz knows, and I'm sure everyone else, when it comes down to it, to its core, look, whether we play Liverpool on day 1 or day 2 or day 8 or day 15, right? We're going to play every team home and away. That's it. So there's no, we're playing every single team.
I didn't know that.
So it is what it is. I'm not too fussed about the fixtures overall, but I'm glad that they're spread out the way that they're spread out. To be honest, it could have been worse.
On top of that, just quickly to add, let's not disregard anything. Like, I hear what Younes you said. I hear what Matisse you said. Tough fixtures. I am not disregarding a single team next season, not even Luton, because for me, for real, 3 points is the same that you get with Luton. It's going to be the same that you get with Man United. So it don't matter. I don't care as long as we put up a really, really good performance next season as a whole. That's all I'm concerned about. It all comes down to the preparation for pre-season. So I'm not even worried about the fixture list. If the pre-season sucks, I'm just going to get the fixture list and just throw it in the bin. You know what I mean?
There's another point as well, is all these big teams that we're looking at and going, I hope we don't play them all together. We already have, we're meant to have, I stress, we're meant to have an advantage over them, is they have European football and we don't. So we don't really have an excuse. You know what I mean? We play against these big teams. They've got to think about what they're doing midweek. We haven't. Except for the second round of the Carabao Cup, which we're going to play, which is embarrassing. I don't want to say that again.
Yeah. Well, now that we got that out of the way, we need to move on.
8 minutes.
Yeah, now that we got that out of the way. I tried to start on a positive note. Are you streaming this show on Twitch? No, I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be on Twitch, and I don't think I am, no. Big up everybody in the chat. Drogbaba has a doctor's appointment, and judging by the way you guys were very much looking for the show to start immediately, I don't think I'll wait for the doctor's appointment to finish. So if he jumps in, he jumps in. Hopefully he jumps in, but I didn't want to delay any further. Now, yesterday, I mean, we have to start with the main topic, I guess, which is Kai Havertz, because listen, Moani being on our list is it's not really big news until a bid goes in. But Kai Havertz being wanted by Arsenal was a bit of a shock to the system. I'm not going to lie, for a lot of people. What's everybody's kind of feeling on him going there? Are you guys bothered with him going to Arsenal? Obviously, the preference would be Bayern Munich because they're not in our league. But if push comes to shove, we need money. We need sales to happen, and potentially maybe for me the logistic was. I was trying to put together was maybe that takes them off the market for Caicedo. That kind of rationalizes maybe getting it done. But I don't know how you feel. Miz, I'll start with you, bro, on this one.
It's strange. I saw so much commotion in social media yesterday that, oh man, like we're going to regret Kai Havertz going to Arsenal. Like, wasn't it that long ago majority of you guys were saying, let's get rid of him, including me. Like, we've seen enough of Kai Havertz. Now, okay, why another Premier League club? Let me explain this. Premier League clubs have the most money, all right? Serie A, they don't have money. Spanish League, some have. Even Real Madrid has pulled away from Kai Havertz because we were valuing him about 60, 70, whatever million, right? And they only want to pay about 40, 42 odd. Bayern Munich, yes, they're probably the only one that has the capacity to do a big bid. And for me, it don't matter. I don't care. Whoever brings me the most money. If that's Arsenal, then Arsenal. Bring the bag and collect your man. It's as simple as that. I am not one bit bothered if this player blows up at Arsenal Football Club and just does a madness and he does exactly what we hoped at our club. Because I've seen him enough. I've seen 3 years. I cannot be worried about what he's going to do at Arsenal. I'm more worried about what our players are going to do at Chelsea Football Club. I'm more worried about the players we're going to have. They're going to blow up under Pochettino. I could care less if someone blows up under Arteta. That's Arsenal's business. I will not one bit regret it. It's not like the Salah or KDB situation where we only got to see them for like 5 minutes.
Exactly.
This is a player we've seen for 3 seasons. Now, if he goes and does well at Arsenal, bad luck to us. But I ain't waiting around to see one more season under Poch and maybe he could do better, because I've seen him under Frank. I've seen him under Thomas Tuchel. I've seen him under Graham Potter. Like, why am I now going to sit here and go, do you know what? Poch is the right one, you know. Like, enough's enough. All right, let's balance our books. As Matisse said it before in a few videos ago, balance my books. That's the business I'm in. Balance my books. All right, so whoever brings the most money, no problems. If Bayern Munich brings lesser money than Arsenal, then decline Bayern Munich. Simple as that. You either match it or you go more. Or else it's going Arsenal.
I think as well, there's this narrative that they don't understand the club because they're selling to rivals. People forget Roman sold to rivals as well. Like, Juan Mata went to Manchester United. Nemanja Matic went to Manchester United. So,
and did we regret those?
We didn't. We don't always regret them. It depends on.
Regret that.
Matisse, we need money.
We didn't at all.
We need money.
The thing is with Kai Havertz is that the devil's advocate is, we haven't played him in his position, right? Which is, I'm going back and forth with people on Twitter about it. And to be fair, they're making good points. You know, there's been a lot of instability around him. Reece James and Chilwell have been injured a lot of the time around him as well. Aspilicueta and whoever else comes in, that changes the options. That changes the options off the ball. That changes the dynamic of the team. Tuchel's played him as a striker for Lukaku. We've played him as a striker for Aubameyang. We've not actually seen him in this kind of box crashing, goal scoring, attacking midfield role. But my easy rebuttal to that is we just signed Nkunku. So unless you're telling me that Poch is going to maybe come with something that we're not expecting, which is maybe a box midfield with Nkunku and Havertz at the top, with 2 midfielders just behind and a 3, and then a similar formation to what City have been playing recently, or maybe he's going to find another way to get them both into the team. Kai Havertz, in my opinion, is starting next season as a bench player based on Nkunku, but also based on performance over the last couple of years. So we're effectively saying we're not going to cash in on a bench player for 60 million. And when
2
we
years
know
left in the contract,
2 years left in his contract, when we know his contract's running down, and we're not going to focus on taking that money and putting it towards priorities, which is a player like Caicedo, which would transform this team a lot more than Kai Havertz. And the thing is with Kai Havertz is he feels a lot like a Wenger player. I don't know if you get this similar feeling, Younes, but he feels like a Wenger player. He's a very nice footballer. He can be very techie. He can be very nice to watch. Pick up the ball in the pockets and etc. But he doesn't feel like a needle mover. I'm not looking at Kai Havertz and thinking that's the next Kevin De Bruyne. I'm not looking at Kai Havertz and thinking, that's the next ruthless killer in the Premier League that's going to take
What
the
did they
league by
say?
storm.
Robin van Persie, they said, right? Arsenal fans are saying he's
One Arsenal fan. I don't want to.
What's an insult?
This is the one time I'm not gonna drag the Arsenal fan base via one comment, because he does stand alone, that account, and that Van Persie comparison was kind of insane. But I don't know, Younes, how do you feel about it?
Oh, this is the thing. If we're going to talk about the whole position thing, right? It's very, very easy. Okay, what's his position? Everyone that's using this excuse, tell me, what is his position? Guarantee you're going to get people saying, no, he plays here, no, he plays there, no, he plays there, no, he plays there. I reckon the one person that actually came, I think, closest to where he was attributed at by Leverkusen, where he looked his most comfortable at Bayer Leverkusen, where he looked his most comfortable to a degree, even at Chelsea, was this made-up, tailor-made, crazy, specific individual position called the 9.5 that Thomas Tuchel came up with. Yeah. I think that's accurate. I think that is where you put him, but that means having to come up with an entire system based around Kai Havertz. Bayer Leverkusen done that effectively because they could afford to do that. At Chelsea, I don't think you can. And in the Premier League, come to just, base everything around all of that. And even then, when he was playing under Thomas Tuchel, I wouldn't say he was rubbish under Thomas Tuchel, but he didn't exactly light things up like people expected him to. So in terms of how far he can actually go, has it been good enough anyway? I honestly think he's been living off the back of that Champions League final goal. That's taken him a lot further than anticipated and a lot further than other players would have made it in terms of the generalized opinion of the fan base. Because had he not scored that goal, I think people would have given up on him earlier. But because he scored that goal, it's a case of, now, you know what? He gave us a big moment. Fair play. Let's just ride it out. Yeah. But if it was anyone else, or if it was even him and he hadn't scored that goal that day, then I think people long ago would have been like, yo, no, you know what? No, he's done. But I completely agree with the fact that people, I think, have a KDB Salah PTSD, and it's not going away. And they base their entire opinion on those two players, when in reality, those two players, the year we had them, we weren't using them. So we didn't even give them much opportunity because we had a title-winning team and they had to break through into that title-winning team. We had Fabregas, for goodness sake. So Fabregas or KDB, or you're going to try and play both, but we needed a DM. Matisse was playing. It was a case, and he was flying. So it was a case of they weren't used, they were offloaded, they blew up later. We've had 3 years with Kai Havertz, like Miz said. It's tried and tested, and the same goes for Mason Mount. People are going to go, no, he's going to blow up and whatnot. I think there's certain teams that you get worried about in terms of how they're going to get used. If I'm honest, like Mason Mount United, I'm not that fussed. Kai Havertz at Arsenal, I think there's more scope for him to be used better than he was used at Chelsea, because I think pressure gets alleviated off him. You have players like Saka and Martinelli and Odegaard and what. It's not all focused on Kai Havertz. At Chelsea, everyone else has been kind of poor. It's been, just lock Havertz off up front, don't give him space. And he can't operate when there's no space and time. At Arsenal, he might find a little bit more space and time. But again, overall, I'm not that bothered. I'm concerned about how we use the money. So if we were to sell Kai Havertz to Arsenal, I'm concerned how we're going to upgrade. If we upgrade, Arsenal can have him. If we don't upgrade, so if we don't use that money on Caicedo, for example, and Caicedo goes elsewhere, Arsenal or wherever, or United, and then we spend that money on, like I said yesterday, on Amadou Onana. At that case, I'm against giving Havertz to Arsenal because we're basically just offering him our player and doing nothing with what we've been given. So that's where I stand.
What I don't want to see is Caicedo and Rice at Arsenal as a double pivot in front of the defence. Caicedo coming in off that right-hand side, maybe like he did for Brighton, Pascal Gross, switch. And then you have Odegaard and Kai Havertz at the top of that box with Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus up front, with the back three just slotting in behind. If I see that, then we fucked up. I'm just going to go on record and say that now. The whole premise of selling Kai Havertz to Arsenal is not so they get Caicedo as well. Now, Chelsea feel like giving or selling Kai Havertz to Arsenal takes them out of the way for Caicedo. A lot of Arsenal fans will disagree because, and understandably so, they don't play the same position. So it's not a like for like. If they get Havertz, that is clearly a Xhaka replacement. Now, personally, for me, the reason why I'm also not going crazy about this for Arsenal is because it's not the type of player that I would have really profiled for the left midfield position in the Xhaka role. Whenever I see Kai Havertz clips, and if you want to go back to Bayer Leverkusen and wax lyrical about what happened out there, which was some great stuff, it's always for me drifting off into that right half space where Odegaard plays, and the role of crashing the box, you know, edge of the area, goals, whatever. That's fine. I'm not disputing that. But doing it on the left-hand side opposed to the right-hand side, I think the right-hand side is better for him. And moving him over to the left-hand side where he can't cut in on his left foot and basically asking him to do it from there, I'm not as scared of that version as I would be if he was playing in Odegaard's position with the same duties. Now, listen, I don't think he's an upgrade up front on Jesus. There's even a disagreement on what type of player he is right now, because people are saying in the comments he's a Firmino, he plays as a false nine. I'm going back and forth with Chessiao on Twitter. They're talking about Lampard and Ballack. So which one is it? Because some people are telling me he's a third man in a midfield, crashing and going into the box, running forwards. And some people are telling me he's a Firmino, dropping from the striker position, going backwards and facilitating two goal-scoring wingers. Let's use the examples of Saka and Martinelli. Those two profiles are completely different. Frank Lampard and Firmino are nothing alike. So even to this day right now, people don't know which one he is. And until Arteta puts him in that team, no one's going to know exactly what he's being used for. I can't understand why Arteta would want him up front, because he's got Jesus and he's got Trossard. Both of them don't guarantee you 20, 25, 30 goals. Havertz doesn't do that either. So the consensus around Arsenal was we need a goal scorer, we need a different option, maybe someone more physical, get balls into the box. Kai Havertz doesn't help you aerially a little bit, although I do think Kai Havertz aerially is a little bit overstated right now because of his height. He hasn't scored that many headed goals for Chelsea.
Bro, he's weak aerially. He's weak.
He's not Didier Drogba. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we were swinging crosses in there every minute and he's lapping them up. That's not the situation. Let's not turn back time. So if he's being signed to play in that Xhaka role, like I said, I'd be interested to see it. But for me, it's not worth missing out on 60 million when we have Nkunku to play that position, unless you're going to incorporate both of them.
This is the thing. Quickly, with Nkunku, you know exactly where he's going to play. It's key. With Kai Havertz, all those roles you mentioned, if he was good in every single one, right, and he's that versatile, at that point you'll be like, oh yeah, no crap, you've got a really good player on your hands. But he's not been like that. He's just not, you know. So that's the problem.
This is what I think about. First of all, I don't care one bit about how Arsenal Football Club deploys this brother. Because going on what we have done, I'm sure they're not going to try and replicate what we did. So I don't care how they deploy him. Kudos to you if you can find out a way to deploy him. The only thing I'll say is, in regards to his best position, from the days I've seen him at Leverkusen, right? Because at that time we were all following Leverkusen, we were all checking him out. It was, lockdown time, COVID, this, that, the other. Kai Havertz is a luxury player. All right, he likes the freedom. He likes to roam around almost everywhere, whether it's on the right side or the left side or through the middle, sometimes popping in. He does not want to be penciled down in one particular position. That's the vibe I get.
That's what the quotes are. And the funny thing is, bro, the quotes from Havertz are always kind of loose on his position as well. He says he doesn't mind dropping deep and getting involved in the build-up. He doesn't mind, getting into the box to score, but he also wants to be able to have the freedom. Like, he isn't a player that you can really, like you said, stick in a certain position and say that's where he plays. He is a bit of a drifter.
He's just a drifter. He's a drifter. Now, I don't know how Arsenal are going to, fit him in their system. All I'm going to say is that type of a player, a drifter, is probably okay in a Bundesliga where the intensity and the energy is probably not like that non-stop. And there's a lot of space available in Bundesliga. In the Premier League, a drifter, you're better off drifting in the bench. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm going to say.
To be a drifter, right, or to have that freedom, you need to be sick.
Oh,
like you need to be a player that a manager looks at and goes, I'm not going to tell you how to play. Just go and do it. You need to be that level. Or, as you said, you can go and do it in the Bundesliga where you have space
like
and time.
Younes,
and you look good.
Hazard, like he was given the freedom to be.
Freedom.
You anywhere.
Go and do
you
what you
anywhere.
want. Go and do what you want. But he was Eden Hazard. Do you know what I mean? That's the difference. Kai Havertz is not on that level. So for him to play as a drifter, you're not at that level in England to be able to be capable of that. You're just not.
But you'll be drifting straight out of the stadium, bro. That's what's going to happen to you.
I just don't think he's a needle mover. I think he's a nice player. He's a nice player, but he's not like Arsenal getting Declan Rice is far more important to the landscape of their team than them getting Kai Havertz. Same with Caicedo. Same with, you could go through other names. And I think there's a link. Younes was saying to me just before we went live that Rice is linked with Manchester City. I don't know what's going on there. That's a bit mad.
That's mad, actually. But I find that quite mad because they got Rodri and Calvin Phillips.
Well, Calvin Phillips is an interesting one because he got injured again when he had fitness issues, and I don't know professionalism wise what Man City think of him currently at this current moment. But just think about the role that John Stones has played this season in the second half of the season, and think about Declan Rice in that role. There's not many players more perfect for that role. You got Rodri who is sitting, and you got now someone who's very comfortable sitting alongside him in Declan Rice. And if you go and stack that out with 3 centre-backs just behind Diaz, Ake and Walker or Stones, I mean, how do you get past that? Pep might just be one of the most defensive managers I've ever heard in my like, how do you get past that? That is like that's a wall. And on top of that, they're not going to give you the ball. So they're not going to give you the football, and they're going to put Declan Rice next to Rodri if that's what their plan is. So you're not going to get the ball, and if you do get the ball, good luck transitioning against that 5. Those 3 centre backs and that midfield pairing of Rice and Rodri. It's just a madness. It really is just a madness, to be honest. But it's all over the place with that one. Whether that actually comes to.
I have to consider as well if there is an element of smokescreen. I know it's come from Ornstein. Yeah. It could be a way of getting Arsenal to hurry up and pay.
Because you know what, Younes, I agree with you on that. Because I'm thinking next season, John Stone's probably going to be a midfielder. I don't think he's going to be considered as a centre back anymore. So I don't know if they really need someone like Declan Rice. This is probably why they're getting linked with Vardiol. Like the interest on Vardiol is quite strong. So that is a strange one, but I don't disregard Rice. I wish, now the fact that we have Enzo Fernandez, I think someone like Rice would have been so good next to him. But it is what it is, man. Life moves on. We just have to scout. We got to do better. We've got to go ahead. Like, this is why I'm not concerned. Honestly, Matisse, I know there is an element of concern in your face. I can see it. I can read it. That if Arsenal end up getting Rice and Caicedo, oh my God, we are going to die. I've even seen Younes's videos as well. It's the end of the world if they get all of this. Look, I'm concerned about how we can organize our team. I can't control what they do. Look, I can't blame if we, for instance, can't make the Caicedo transaction happen. I'll tell you why, and I've said this repeatedly on my channel. Brighton are treating us like a bitch. Brighton, we have their bitch, like straight up. They're bidding for Colwell again when we've repeatedly told them, F off, mate. Like, I don't know how much we need to tell you. And the reason Brighton's doing that, because Brighton know we've got an interest in Caicedo. So for me, look, if we have to move away from Caicedo, let it be. And there's other suitors. Caicedo probably wants to be in Champions League. There's Bayern Munich. There's Man United. Obviously, we've talked about Arsenal. Don't forget Newcastle. There was rumors about Newcastle potentially going for someone like Caicedo. Do you think Newcastle's just twiddling their thumbs, watching everyone doing their business? They'll come into the mix as well. So look, Chelsea hierarchies, Chelsea board, do your thing. All right? Whatever you do, be decisive. As Thiago Silva said last season, be decisive. Do you know what I mean? Like the way you moved away from Ugarte because, XYZ happened, be decisive. If you really like Caicedo, you're going to have to break the bank. It's as simple as that. You're going to have to go over the top because Caicedo's probably got their eyes on UCL. You're going to have to entice Brighton by giving them something astronomical, in excess of 80, maybe even 90 million. And then there's the pay package that you need to match for Caicedo, because all these other clubs will pay him quite smartly.
There are options out there on the market to scout. My issue is that this position has been neglected for so long that the only reason why we're talking like this is because we spunked off 600 million and the team's not perfect yet.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any sympathy for us on not being able to afford or battle for Caicedo. This is a position that we need to get a top player in my opinion. We're losing Kante. We're losing Cover. Mason Mount is most likely going. Not the same profile, but this is all in the midfield. And count our blessings, Gallagher will be sold for a good price as well. That means there needs to be a big incoming in this position. The midfield market is so strong right now. To come out of it with B-list targets, C-list targets, for me is not good enough, because not only do you have to develop those players, and we have enough players to develop for Poch as it is in that midfield, with Cassidy and with Santos and with Carney. I think he's got enough on his hands there. Some instant impact, some guarantees would be good. But even if you do develop those players, Rice and Caicedo are so young that who says they're not developing? So you're always playing catch up. Our midfield of Lampard, Ballack, Essien, Makalele, nobody could touch us because we were always ahead. We were always ahead. People were always trying to play catch up. Wenger would sign all these like fancy young players, but he couldn't develop them in time to catch up. It was too late. We was already gone clear. I'm not trying to get to a point where we become, and this is where stockpiling comes into it, where we're just stockpiling so many young players that it's impossible to develop all of them anyway, because there's no balance. There's no balance. We have a lot of developing players already in that midfield. The last thing I think we need is more, unless you're going with 2 extra midfielders. But for me, that you need to get somebody alongside Enzo for Enzo's own sake as well, that is ready to start against Liverpool first game of the season and giving us guaranteed minimum 7.5, 8 out of 10 performances, because Santos is going to take time potentially to adapt. We all talk about Enciso, but Enciso didn't really come to the party this season until the back end of the season. He was nowhere to be seen in the early part, probably still acclimatizing, but that's not a problem. Santos should be given the time to get used to the environment, come off the bench, 10, 15 minutes here, second round of the Carabao Cup against only southern teams in England, because that's where we're at right now. But to put the pressure on these guys to go and start or to be massive players from the get-go on game week 1, 2, 3, I don't think we can afford to get off to a poor start. And I don't think we should be getting off to a poor start if we handle our business correctly, considering the fact that we don't have European football as well. We should be having a strong Premier League campaign under normal circumstances. That depends how many players we sell. So for me, I think there's an A-lister in that midfield, and then there's a B. The Lavias, and I'm hearing about Onana. I know Younes is not keen. We'll talk about him in a minute. I don't mind that as a second option, as your secondary midfielder. But your A-lister, when I'm seeing, not that I wanted McAllister to come in, because I don't think that's the profile we need. But when I'm seeing McAllister's going out, Rice is going out, Caicedo's going out, all these midfielders, we need to leave with something. That's all I know. We need to leave with something. We're not Man City. We don't have these luxuries right now. Our midfielder is about to get blown to smithereens. We don't have no one in there. When you actually take a look at all the players leaving, even including Loftus-Cheek, Kante's already gone. All we're left with is Cassidy, Enzo, Santos, and Carney. That's it. That's all we got left. Everyone else is gone. Maybe Ampadu.
Here's what I have to say, and obviously I'd love to hear what Younes has to say after this one. I hear you, Matisse. A-listers, and believe me, I want the A-listers as well. We're not in the position at the moment where we can just demand A-listers. We're in a very predicament situation at the moment, like where we don't have Champions League football, financial fair play is a bit of an issue, and 1 game a week, right? So it's a sticky situation, and wages as well. We're looking to trim that down. But having said that, the B-listers don't need to be so far below either. You've got your Soufiane Amrabat's of the world out there. You've got, for example, Amadou Onana at 50 million is mad. But at 35 million, Amadou Onana is not... We have to understand, we've got a gem of a midfielder in the likes of Enzo Fernandez. All we need is a competent player to be in and around him to do the defensive side of things. Am I going to sit here and say Amadou Onana is absolutely useless? No, not at all. He's not. Under Pochettino back in Spurs had the likes of Wanyama. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he wasn't doing that badly over there, right? So we don't have to sit here and just hope that it has to be Caicedo or else it's nothing. There are options out there, man. There are options out there that we can work with Enzo. We need to understand, not too many Premier League teams have an Enzo level of midfielder. So we just need to complement him adequately. And if it's nothing exquisite, no problems, as long as it's not utterly rubbish. So that's where I'm at. I think someone like Soufiane Amrabat and Enzo Fernandez, or even the shout of Palhinha from Fulham, these players would do a very, very good job.
I don't get why we're not actually trying to pursue, all bearing in mind if Caicedo were to happen or not, but if it doesn't, or if it's looking really unlikely, why we don't just get linked with Palhinha. Because that's exactly the sort of profile that a player like Enzo in our midfield needs. And we need to be logical, as Mrs. just said. He's right, I think, is this role, this DM role needs to be solid. All the other roles may have a little bit more flexibility in terms of how how good the player is, their development scope, is there all of that? Do we maybe take a little bit of time? But the DM role needs to be nailed down. It has to, because that's going to be the engine of the entire team. And if it's not, you don't get the freedom in an Enzo that he needs, for example. So I honestly think that we need to. The one mistake that I think we've done is that we've gone as a club, is that we've gone from extreme to extreme. We've gone from one extreme of splash 600 million, pay Sterling the wages he's on, pay Lukaku. Well, Lukaku was done in advance before the new owners. But there's players in the team that are on very high salaries. We've splashed a lot of cash. And now we've gone to the other extreme of we're trying to save. We're not going to spend much. Let's bring the salary cap completely down, not gradually down, completely down. We struggled to get Ugarte because of salary, and that it wasn't even blockbuster. So we're going from one extreme to the other. The fact we don't have Champions League football, we don't have European football, is going to be key for us to not penny pinch too hard. If not, we're not getting anybody, because anyone will outcompete us for signings. And as I've said, for the DM role, it's crucial. We need to get who we want as a top target needs to walk through the door. We have to do whatever we need to do. I'm not saying give him 250k a week, but we have to come out the mindset of let's just hope he gets 60 or 70k a week. If we have to offer 110 or even 120, do it. For that one position, do it. We have to, just to outcompete the others. So that's what I have to say, because if we end up with just an average player, say for example, we finish the window and Amadou Onana is our new DM, I'm concerned. Just him, I'm concerned.
Oh, well, just him, then I'm concerned. You'd want to add maybe a Romeo Lavia.
Someone, no, exactly, yeah. Him and Lavia are options as a third choice, a third midfielder, rotational. Someone that's going to come in and fill in the gap if Enzo's not going to be playing in that double pivot, if whoever we have as the main guy next to him is not going to be playing those games, those cup games or whatnot, or, if 20, 30 minutes in the second half, you bring on Lavia, you bring on Onana, not a problem, right? As rotational squad players for now, and see how they do later. But that's as far as it goes for those sort of players. This is what I'm saying. We need a proper DM to walk in through the door to complement Enzo. So Caicedo, for me, is of that level.
We'd have to break the bank to get Caicedo then. And I've got no issues with that. I've absolutely got no issues with that. My concern is Chelsea need to realize what path they want to take with Caicedo. Don't drag this transfer saga out for too long.
Yep.
Like, you know what you need to do to get Caicedo. All of these BS about, we'll just match whatever Arsenal does. What makes you think he's going to come to us if we match? Because they've got Champions League football. He'll choose them.
I think the way that they're planning on matching it is okay. So the overall fee is matched, but the structure is different. Exactly. So if I say I'm going to pay you 80 million and Arsenal are going to pay 80 million, but obviously we go with the 70 million up front, maybe, and Arsenal go with 60 million up front, then our bid is stronger.
Sure,
So,
but what about the player?
The point is with that is that Brighton would obviously have to reject Arsenal's lower bid in terms of structure, not overall offer, but the structure's worse, so they would have to reject that. And then obviously he only has us as an option. My thing is as well with Caicedo, which is really, really important, is I think, and I haven't seen enough of Gusto, and maybe someone can tell me that this guy defensively is going to come in and have no problems. But Reece James is very injury prone. I don't know Gusto defensively. I don't know what level he is defensively as a right back. I know that Caicedo can cover in those areas because we've seen that at Brighton. Now, I know he's a brilliant crosser of the ball, very good going forward, but I think the fact that Caicedo has that extra element to his game, it just provides an extra bit of flexibility system-wise that we might need. Because I just don't know with this guy what level he is defensively. I know going forward he's very exciting. He can create a lot of chances, but 1v1 defending in the Premier League is something that you either, as a fullback, you either show it or you might be a little bit weak. We've seen it with Trent. So until I see him in preseason, maybe he'll calm me down on those thoughts. But I agree with what we need in midfield there with Younes. I think I personally would feel a lot more comfortable if we actually spent money in this area. It's not about new toys. More than happy for us to, in the striker position, be a little bit cute and clever with the scouting, because I do believe that a lot of those players that are apparently 80 to 100 million, I don't think they're worth it. I think I don't feel comfortable with loads of those players that are on the market in the striker position for that price. The only guy out there that is not available, that is going to be on a free next season, is Harry Kane. He gives you the guarantees. I'd love for Brozier to get developed by Poch, and hopefully he recovers from his ACL, and we might have somebody there that can contribute along with somebody that we've scouted, because I got PTS with the striker. I just think the midfield is such an important position, and we've neglected it for so long, and we're losing so many key players. We're making so much money from this position. If Cover goes for 35, Mason goes for 50, 55, 60, Loftus-Cheek goes for 10, like all that money coming in, and then you're gonna cheap out in midfield. It doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense. I think a lot of people would be quite concerned and quite worried, even in the squad, if they didn't see us seriously go with a very important midfielder, an important bid, as Fabrizio would say, for this position. Because how are you taking out all of those players and come in with some foolishness? It doesn't make any sense. You have to, if you're going to take all those guys out of that midfield, Kante's already gone. You have to respond with somebody serious. And then after, you can go with a few risks. But you have to come with someone serious. You have to.
This is why I was sort of leaning towards the fact that it seems to us, all of us, that the path is quite clear. You do need to break the bank for a top midfielder, if that is what we want. But I don't understand why Chelsea's dilly-dallying around. Like, how did we allow for Declan Rice to get so deep with Arsenal when all along, apparently, we were the ones who were linked with Declan Rice? He's the one who wanted to be with us. We wanted him. We were waiting for the right moment, and the moment arrived, and now he wants to go to Arsenal Football Club. How did we allow for that to even materialize? Because, right now, looking at the situation, we're thinking about paying roughly around, let's say, 80 million for Caicedo, which will probably be approximately similar amount for Declan Rice anyway, maybe another 10 million more. Why didn't we just get that sorted back in January? Do you know what I mean? Like, not saying that get him in January, but have some sort of pre-agreement or something going on. Like, these are the things that makes me think, I don't think our board is looking to splash out all that money, boys.
Yeah,
that's the feeling I get.
They're not.
Because if it was going to happen, like what we are talking about, we would have been in advanced conversation with Caicedo already. Simple.
I honestly think this is pointed more at Paul Winstanley, Lawrence Stewart, those guys. Because since they've come in, the approach has shifted completely. Before then, the owner, Todd and them lot, they weren't bothered about spending money. They did it. They done it recklessly, but they did it. So the guts to be able to just pluck out the cash and go boom is there. They just didn't quite know how to do it. That's the only problem. Paul Winstanley and them lot came along. I mean, look at the issues with Mason Mount. It seemed like everything was in place. All of a sudden, Paul Winstanley comes in and there's issues. Why? Because we're actually trying to be more structured. We're trying to bring everything a little bit down. We're trying to be a little bit more, let's say, savvy, right? The whole Declan Rice thing apparently is quite similar in terms of the relationship between, I think, Declan Rice's family and the club isn't as great as it was before. I don't know if that's down again to Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart because of the way that we're actually trying to structure things at the club now. But it's no surprise that now Arsenal have come into the conversation and we stand no chance. chance. So I agree with you, Miz. I think we're trying to just calm everything down and do things on a low level. And I don't genuinely know if that's going to be the right or wrong way.
But this is the thing, right, Younes? We don't know whether it's going to be the right or wrong way. We've got to give it time. Like, I've got no issues trying to be a little bit more savvy from here on in. Enough of those days. Like, I saw a particular comment, are we Everton Football Club, the way we're talking? Mate, we spent 600 million in the last 2 windows. Are we better than Everton after spending 600 million? You need to ask yourself that question. So whatever we've been doing so far in regards to splashing money, we've not been doing it right. So for the first time, I just want to see how this board moves. We're halfway through. The window's open. I'm very keen to see from the 1st of July when Poch comes in, who we actually going to give Poch. Who's leaving? Who we giving Poch? Because, I want to hold my judgment at then. I can't sit here and go, if Amadou Onana comes in, then it's underwhelming. If this guy comes in, it's underwhelming. Let me just see exactly what level of business. There was a Monaco player that we were linked with as well, Monaco DM, Youssoufa Fofana. Yeah. I don't know these players.
The Fofana spine.
The Fofana spine. Get a Fofana and goalkeeper as well. Look, man, Badiashile. I was against Badiashile. He turned out all right, hasn't he? Obviously, he's got an injury now, but from early days, we can say that he's turned out all right. So let's wait and watch. I'm just comfortable as to the players that we have in the likes of Enzo, in the likes of Nkunku coming in the likes of Malagusto. Hopefully Mudryk can perform a lot better next season. Madueke to upgrade his game as well. So I'm happy with what artilleries and firepower that hopefully Poch will have, and just add, and then build from there. I don't need a complete transformation in one season. I think it would be naive to think that Poch will come in and just transform this team. This is why I said, have your expectations in order, ladies and gentlemen, next season. The way you're talking and the vibe you're trying to give out, that you're expecting a lot of madness. You're expecting a lot of stuff. You need to check yourself a little bit. We've just finished 12th.
It does need to be, for me, sales like never before, though. Like, because I do believe that, look, there was a report that if we get to pre-season and there's still a lot of players that shouldn't be here, then maybe Pochettino's hopefully going to look at separating the squad out. I do think it needs to be like that. I don't want to see a situation where people are getting on the plane to go to the US that are not part of the plan, because I do think that's a waste of time. So hopefully he's going to be ruthless enough to do that. According to the reports, you would assume he is. I agree with you on that point. I do think that some of our low-key signings have been our best signings. And this is why with Onana, I have no problem with Onana. I have no problem with Jackson, even though it's very clear that, there are holes in these guys' games that will have to be coached and developed. That is exactly what Poch is here for. As long as we, in my opinion, have not too many players coming at once, which is key this window. I think for me, maximum 4 players, a goalkeeper, 2 centre mids, and a striker. Shut the window. I don't want to hear about a winger. I don't want to hear about another centre back. I don't want to hear about I don't want to hear about these other players. I think the more players you bring in, the worse it gets for me. Too much players is too many problems. 4 players max and double digits outgoings. I just want that spine of the team, which is listen, the striker at this point, anybody who can shoot competently will be a vast difference and improvement on what we've had so far, because we've basically playing with an attacking midfielder at striker for the past God knows how many years, and 2 strikers that haven't fit the system. Stopgap and obviously an emotional wreck in Lukaku. So more than happy for that. Goalkeeper, I don't know how you feel about the Inter Milan meeting that's been going on. Obviously, Onana, they're trying to outprice him. They're asking for Lukaku on loan again, Koulibaly on loan. Obviously, Onana, everybody's quite impressed with the Champions League performance. Alternatives, though. If we don't get Onana, what are the alternatives? Because I'm not hearing Robert Sanchez. I'm not going to lie. I'm not impressed with him. From what I've seen from him, I'm not that impressed. I think that would maybe be a bit of Ben Roberts influence, maybe Win Stanley influence. I think what you mentioned earlier about dealing with Brighton, the last thing I want to do right now is give Brighton money for a goalkeeper that is on the way out. If you're going to go to Brighton,
probably going to give him 40 million.
Going for the top dog in Caicedo. I'm not trying to give Brighton money for anybody else at all, so they can keep Sanchez. Who else has been mentioned? The Leeds goalkeeper as well.
No, Melia, please.
He even spoke. I'm not going to go there and be number 2. I admire that, but good luck in your future endeavors.
Look, I'm completely sold on Onana, man. Not Amadou, Andre Onana. This guy, wow. He's got that aura. He's got that vibe, man. He's got that personality, that mentality. Man, God damn it, Inter Milan, just do business, man. Like, why are you being like such pain in the backsides like that? You want some of our players. You want Romelu Lukaku. You want Koulibaly. I think even want Chalobah and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Let's sit down, brothers. Let's sit down. Let's be civil about it. You want some of our players. We want some of your players. Let's get married. Let's get married. You know what I mean? Jagged Edge. Shout out to Jagged Edge. Let's get married. What a song. Yeah, man. Look,
they're broke.
Yeah, they're broke. Like,
how do they end up broke, man? We gave them 100 mil for Lukaku. Where did that go?
Exactly. Where did that
What's going on in them, man?
Where did that? And he still plays for you. We paid for him. He plays for you.
It's outrageous.
It is outrageous. And don't forget the Hakimi money that they got from PSG as well. I don't know, man. I think their president out there is just taking some money out and just gambling on the side. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure we can find a middle ground, man. Like, let's do a deal with Romelu Lukaku and Koulibaly. Keep them. Give us Onana. If you value Onana at 80 million, I'm sure Lukaku and Koulibaly together, that's 80 million. There you go.
I didn't like it when I heard Lukaku, Koulibaly, and Trevor. That was a ridiculous proposal.
Trevor, we keep.
Trevor's contract expires in 2028. I don't know where this low valuation of Trevor's come from. This guy is on a new contract for 5 years. He's a young centre-back, and he's shown in the Premier League that he can handle himself to a decent level, at least as a rotational option. I don't understand why Trevor Chalobah has just become this little offset, player that we can just get rid of and just offset for 10, 15 million valuation in these little swap deals. Obviously, hopefully not true. Koulibaly, again, is on a long contract, but his wages are ridiculously high. Lukaku on a long contract, high wages. Martinez is
Koulibaly on?
Koulibaly, got a lot of money.
I think he's on 300k. I think, but maybe I'm wrong.
Or just less than 300. Something around 200 and 250 or something like that.
High 200.
To be honest, I don't know about these salaries, man. I don't know if any of these sources are true.
But also, Martinez, this is why I don't believe what I read yesterday. I didn't really react. People were talking about Kepa, Poch being happy for Kepa to be number 1. I don't believe that to be true at all, because it was made quite clear that Martinez was one of his top goalkeeping choices early on. And we've been linked to goalkeepers the whole way through. So if he was happy to have Kepa as his first choice, we would never been linked to goalkeepers in the first place. What's happened, Younes?
Koulibaly's on 295 a week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So this goes back to he was signed under Todd Bowley. Do you see what I mean? And then as soon as we change the board to hire new people, and all of a sudden that's now out the window. It's gone. So one extreme to the other. That was the point earlier.
Well, you know what? The new board came in and probably said to Todd Bowley, mate, if you carry on like this, you will get us banned. Like, financial fair play will be up your backside. massively. You will get us banned the way you're moving, Matt. Just giving money left, right, and center to everyone. So, yeah, need to give the right money to the right people.
And Saudi need to save our club.
Come on, please.
I mean,
they turned around from Lukaku, man. They looked and went, no, what
they've got the money. They've got the money, and they take them way out of our peripheral vision. Ziyech, Aubameyang, Lukaku, Koulibaly. I've seen links for all of them. Even if you could just pay just average fees and take them off the wage bill and take them out of the squad, more importantly.
Yeah.
Blessing. It would be a blessing. But there were links with Saudi clubs for Aubameyang and Ziyech. I've still not seen any updates. We last week were having a bit of not a panic attack, but we were kind of talking about, listen, we need to get a move on these sales. We're here 1 week later, still no extra sales. Now I'm going to keep doing this every single week until we get to the 1st of July. I need to see sales. Champions League final ended last weekend. Inter Milan, Man City, Kovacic, Koulibaly, Lukaku, outgoings. There's no excuse now. Season's done for everyone. We're not waiting on any more meetings. There's meant to be a meeting last night, today in the morning. I don't know how long these conversations are going to take. We don't have long. We don't have time for these conversations to be wasted or to be going left or to be breaking down over maybe someone ordered lasagna for the wonderful meal. Somebody ordered spaghetti. Listen, these deals need to get done. We go to next week. Next week, I'm in New York, so I won't be able to do the show at the normal time. I think next week, actually, I would just might not be able to do it. I have to see what the time difference is saying, because now we have Australia, New York, and London, and we have India as well. So I don't.
It's not gonna happen.
I don't think that's gonna work.
Someone is sleeping.
Someone is sleeping.
Somebody's sleeping. Somebody's sleeping. So, and my schedule for New York is looking just mad in terms of the amount of content and what we're doing. So, bear this in mind, people listening right now. You might not see us next week. You most likely, unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say it, you probably won't see us, right? Because I just don't know how I'm going to make that work. So the next time that you actually see us, I'm not back until the 26th. Show's usually on a Thursday, maybe Wednesdays, 28th, 29th. That's a couple days away from Poch officially being announced and Pochettino's preseason officially beginning. Next time you see us as a quadruple or as a trio, we're going to see how many sales we've made. Hopefully, I'm praying that we've made quite a few. If not, then God help us all. That's how I see it.
This is the thing. We have to clarify the time frames here, because I think a lot of people are they're stuck, I think, in the old mindset, unaware of the actual circumstances. Like, preseason starts in just over 2 weeks. That sounds mad because the season just ended.
But this is what we said last week, bro. Time flies.
But this season that's just gone by isn't a normal season. The Champions League final took place on June 10th. Do you remember when we won it? When did we win it? We won it on the 19th of May. The season had ended. It normally ends mid-May. The whole season is done mid-May. It's an extra month on top because World Cup. So, and the fallout from before then, when we were having to extend season and all of that, if you remember, during lockdowns and whatnot, it's a complete domino effect. So what would normally happen is you finish the season in May and then you have a good 2 months to get your business done, take your time for pre-season, get everything in place for pre-season, and you're ready to go. We ain't got that time. And with the circumstances we're in 12th. We have to offload as much as possible quick and get in players quick. That way we have everyone ready for pre-season, because we need everyone in place for pre-season, because we actually need to have a pre-season before we go off to the States and start touring that country about and just playing matches for fun. We ain't got the time like other clubs do. We ain't got the time. So this is why sometimes we're all acting urgent. We get comments of, no, relax, the season just ended. No, not this year. Not for us. Other clubs, not for us. It doesn't apply for us. So
it was the 29th of May, that final. So
the second one, 29th of May. Yeah.
29th of May. But like you just said,
this one was 10th of June.
Like you just said, 29th of May, 10th of June. So a good almost 2 weeks difference. Yep. On top of the fact that we have to do more business than we've ever had to do before in our lives.
Exactly.
This is a astronomical amount of business that needs to be done. There's no other club in Europe that has to do more outgoings than us right now. And we've done none so far.
And don't forget the players coming back from loan. So,
bro, we ain't even got to those guys.
Those people in the list.
We ain't even got to the Hudson-Odois and the Ampadus and
Ian
the
Martin.
Baba Ramen Noodles and the Ian Matsons. We ain't even got to those guys.
Like they're waiting. Like they're just in the back of the line. Like, guys, hurry up.
Yeah,
like,
hurry up, guys. We want to get into the film. We want to get into the theater of nightmares. We want to get in. Do you know what I mean? So, listen, we need to sell, and all of this haggling over 5-10 million. I know we're in a financially maybe a little bit of a precarious position because we want to get as much money for the books, but at the same time, clubs can move on to other targets. And if our players that we're trying to sell run out of suitors, and all we get is loan deals towards the back end of the window with FIFA regulations saying that you can only maximum send out only a certain amount of loanies. Not that loanies even help us anyway, because they don't do anything for us, which is why we rejected the Koulibaly loan already. And we'll be in a bit of a predicament. So
I am confident though, over the next couple of weeks, we should see Mount, Kovacic,
Havertz.
That may drag out a little longer, but Mount and Kovacic, I do believe they should be gone in the next 2 weeks. I don't see any hold up. I really do not see any hold up. Besides the fact, obviously, like try and match us as close as possible. Obviously, the 40 million for Mason Mount, come on, that's a joke. Like get to 55, 5 million in add-ons. Yeah, there's your man, right? Kovacic as well. I think it's pretty straightforward. He's got personal terms agreed. Just about meeting a price for Kovacic now with Man City. I think we should be able to do that. So these two, I think so. I'm not sure what players like Ziyech do. These play like? Does he need a formal card saying to him, brother, you need to find a club?
Yeah.
And by club, I don't mean nightclub either, because like you need to find a football club to actually play next season. Because if you're traveling, and as much as I am such, I love Ziyech so much, but you need to find a football club, my man. Like ASAP. And Christian Pulisic is another one. Like, dude, you think the preseason's in America and it's gonna be like a homecoming for you? Nah, brother, you're finding a club.
We might just leave him there.
We might have to, into Miami. Messi. Do you know what I mean?
Jesus. I forgot about Pulisic. I'm going to fly through these super chats before we come to a close. Give Bakayoko another chance as this super chat. We've had that up a while. I thought that was quite funny. Couldn't think of a worse idea than that. I think a player like him should just be released. And obviously that costs money, so that doesn't help the books.
He needs to retire. He needs to retire.
David Ornstein says reported City are also interested in Declan Rice, so Arsenal might get Caicedo and Havertz. The thing that does confuse me about that, and why I'd love to think that it is a little bit of maybe pressure being put, is because they're meant to be getting cover. So they're not going to get cover and Rice. They're meant to be getting cover. If they go and get Rice and Arsenal go and get Caicedo, then what happens with cover? Because Pochettino is not really he's pretty indifferent, it seems, reportedly on cover. So that would be the worst possible case situation for us, because then we don't. Yeah, and then I don't know what.
Unless if Calvin Phillips and Gundogan were to both go.
Yeah, potentially. But then, then we're screwed. The fact that Salah and KDB have been the best EPL players in the last 7 years really hurts me. I pray Kai and Mount don't haunt us like that.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. Even if they do, just don't worry.
Oh God! Sell the German James Charles already. That's a super chat there as well as coming. Wow. Brighton sources reportedly saying Bayern are in for Caicedo now.
Oh.
Do you know what? They were after Declan Rice, so they're looking for a defensive midfielder. So this is not too far-fetched at all. And Thomas Tuchel knows everything about Premier League.
One thing to consider before signing Jackson is there's AFCON this season.
Honestly, I don't know too much about Jackson, man. I can't even give a proper comment on him. All I can say is that,
he had a great end to the season, and he looks to be well-rounded. But I'd like to put asterisks on that because Premier League football and La Liga.
Yeah, look, from face value, seems like that kind of a gem that we have been looking for and whatnot. I understand that, but is that the striker that should lead us next season? You know, where we expect a lot as well. And what happens to Broya? What happens to David Datra Fofana? I mean, don't we have this project?
100%.
Okay, so he goes on loan. No problem.
Fofana, I've been saying it last season. Fofana's going out on loan. Fofana is a profit player for me. It looks like Broya is coming back from an ACL. So as much as I would have loved to have him to have this, I think if he had the last campaign and at least done a good to decent job, I think he would have been shooing for Poch this season to be getting more of an opportunity. But he's obviously got to come back from that.
Do you know what the crazy part is, Matisse? Let's flip it for a second. If David Datra Fofana was a Villarreal player right now and got those numbers, you best believe we're getting linked with David Datra Fofana.
Yeah, of course.
So this is what absolutely pisses me off. Like, I got no issues. You want to get Nicholas Jackson, no problems, but have a plan for him. Have a plan.
He would be the starter. He would have to be the starter.
He has to be. Like, don't just stockpile these players. You know, Jackson.
We don't have time for another striker to come in to be the backup option or the integration option. If he's coming in,
you're starting, and
starting next season.
We have expectations of you.
We only need to sign one striker, as far as I'm concerned, and that is so whoever that is starting. So we don't have time to be doing that much else.
We need to start. Like, we get so excited about other clubs and their youngsters, and we want to pay exorbitant amount of money for their players, but we don't want to spend any time on our players that we bought. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the plan? We have to have a plan, man. We cannot move without having a plan anymore.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, we're gonna wrap up. Like I said, next week is going to be it's a tough one. I'll look at the time difference when I land. Maybe when I put all the clocks together, it will align nicely, but I highly doubt it. Maybe I'll try and wake up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. But again, that's a difficult one to do. So just make it in your heads that most likely you won't see us until late June.
How long are you going for, by the way, Matisse?
6 nights. 6 nights. Yeah.
Oh, you're in New York for 6 nights.
Yeah.
Sorry, States for 6 nights.
Yeah, in New York. Yeah, in New York for 6 nights. So it's gonna be a week.
I thought you guys were gone for a while, actually.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a good trip, but it's gonna be a week, I think. So that's the plan, guys. Younes, let the people know where to find you. Bro. Pleasure.
Yep. Younes Talks Football, the usual place. It's all the news is coming in thick and fast, and it's crazy at the moment. So I'll just keep up to date with what's going on in this window and across the board, Chelsea and others. So that's it. See what happens.
It's very busy over there. For double uploads, I'm seeing them. And
I've embraced Miz's approach.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I'm going with a video and a live because when it happens like it did yesterday, I was like, I can't kill my algorithm with two videos back to back. I just go live. Miz, go for it, bro. Let the people know where to find you. Pleasure as always.
Yeah, man. The other side of the coin. Getting very close to 24,000. So let's get there, and just a whole heap of news, and we'll see what happens. I think the next 2 weeks is going to be very interesting. So
yeah, big 2 weeks coming up. Yeah, big couple of days coming up if that Inter Milan meeting's meant to mean anything. So until then, guys, big up your damn selves and pray. Just pray.
As manager of Chelsea Football Club, I've called this press conference